gonna. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, just a minute. I'm gonna put it on my Fiesta medal. Can you hear me now? Is it okay? Okay. And this guy is one of them. This is Gil Martinez. He's awesome. And he hugs good too. And I like to call him the snake whisperer. The only thing is, snakes don't have ears, right? But if they did, he'd whisper to them, I think. Because he used to work out at Mitchell. Okay. He used to work out at Mitchell Lake. We're working with a different camera tonight. It's crazy. And I never knew there were so many snakes out there until Gil was around. Because he'd say, oh, there was one over there, and there's one over there, and one over there. And it was cool because I hadn't seen them, and so it was great. But tonight, what he's going to do, and I love what he said some time ago to me, he said, you birders walk around looking up. You should every once in a while pay attention to what's under your feet, especially if it rattles or it has some danger to it. But I want to tell you a little bit about him. And he'll tell you about the snakes because he knows everything. He got a B.S. in biology from University of Texas Pan American. Now that's now UT Rio Grande Valley, right? But he's originally from the Rio Grande Valley, and he grew up chasing lizards and snakes. And he's got a little girl too he thinks is going to follow in his footsteps because she's already grabbing things as they come by. He has a little boy, 8, so they're adorable. He started his career in natural resources after that, and he's worked in the public and the private section. He's done a little bit of everything. He can tell you more about there. But he's also, right now, he's the superintendent at Honey Creek State Natural Area. And I'm so proud of him. We went on a bird walk. Yay, Gil, yeah. We went on a bird walk over there at the invitation of another organization. And they said, well, the superintendent's coming out to greet you. And his guy walks up and I said, I know you. So I'm so proud that you're doing that. And he'll tell you more about that too. He's also a graduate student at the University of Texas, San Antonio, studying the breeding phenology and range of the state-protected Mexican white-lipped frog. Now, if you want to know what a cute frog is, it's got a white lip. Look at this. You can see this later, but there he is, just so cute. I fell in love. Well, my gateway into nature were toads. I used to carry them around in my purse. My grandmother gave me a purse. I carried toads in it, and she knew she was in trouble. But so I want to know more about that. But he has a lovely wife, Andrea, and the 2 kids. And I don't know how he does all that, but he made time to come tonight and tell us about the venomous snakes you might encounter while you're birding or in your yard. And we have these little flyers that you can take with you that tell you if you do. He's going to tell you a lot of stuff in this you can take home with you if you'd like to know what to do. So I'm going to let Gil get started. Do you have the clicker? Here it is. And let me get the microphone. Get it all right. Just put it right here. Just talk naturally into the mic, but project because people in the back want to hear every word.
Okay. Will do.
All right.
Yep. Cool.
You know how to use it. That's
yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah. Appreciate the invite. Thank you so much. That's for that introduction, and it's great to be. I haven't seen some of y'all in a very long time, so it's very nice to be amongst friends again. Missed you all, and hopefully, we're not strangers anymore. Come on by to Honey Creek, you know where I am. So yeah, Gil Martinez, superintendent at Honey Creek State Natural Area, and so came to talk to you about snakes. But super cool that we have the iNaturalist folks here. So just to kind of give you the real world usage of this for someone like me who utilize iNaturalist data for the research projects is I cannot be everywhere at once, but as a community, we're everywhere at once. And so to be able to have a depository of data at our fingertips to facilitate our research is invaluable. So thank you for what you all do for the scientific community and for naturalists everywhere. With how much we're expanding into I would say, natural untouched areas. There's communities popping up here and there. We're displacing a lot of creatures, and we're seeing animals that we didn't know were there at one point, or it just, the data is so valuable to what we do in protecting the resources and the species, whether it flies, whether it jumps, whether it slithers, whether it grows out of a rock. Thank you for that. So I guess I'll jump into my talk. This was a running joke. We're not going to talk about systematics and phylogenetics of herpetology because I am not a phylogeneticist. I'm an ecologist. And I would probably have to charge you for something like this. So, oh, right here. Is it? Yeah. So yeah, so reptiles and amphibians of Texas. So we live in a very biodiverse state, and we're going to touch on some of the venomous species that we have here. But I kind of just wanted to broaden up the talk a little bit because we don't see a lot of these species. And as we're out and about birding or just enjoying nature, sometimes, like Patsy said, we're looking up because we're looking for birds, and we may accidentally step on something. Funny story with this pastor over here. We were at Mitchell Lake Audubon when I was their operations manager, and she was showing me was a plant or some sort of geologic feature. Yeah, and so we're out in the back part of the property, and so we're looking out, and she's like straddling these two boulders, and then we just hear, and right between is this like 6-foot rattlesnake, right between, or slithering right between her to get to the other side of the boulder. So yes, always look down every once in a while because we might have one of these, one of our friends in the same vicinity. So yeah, I'm like, are you okay? But yeah, Texas is a vast state, lots of biodiversity, especially here in the hill country. We have influences from the south, from the Tamaulipan thorn scrub. We have the uplift. We have blackland prairie, and it's just a highway for all sorts of organisms, especially birds, where we have these migratory flyways kind of joining in. So yeah, it's a very good place to be if you're a naturalist. And so across my journeys, I've seen so many cool things. We have soft shells. We have that cool little toad there in the middle, the Mexican burrowing toad, black spotted newt, a young Texas banded gecko, Trimorphodon, that's a lyre snake, our ubiquitous western diamondback, my white-lipped frog right over there, copperheads. It's just so many things. Drymobia, speckled racer. Wait, sorry, there you go. Take it all in. Just so much diversity out here with so little time to see everything. And like I was saying earlier, as a community, we could all collectively see all these things and document it. And now we have data that we can use to help protect these species as we move forward. So why the interest? I've been to so many places across Texas and northern Mexico, which is where I kind of played around with snakes. I've been bitten by cool things like that speckled racer. I bled for like 45 minutes because they have an anticoagulant in their saliva. Super cool. Just handling species that for the first time, that's Shots whip snake in Dimmitt County, I believe, when I was a consultant for oil and gas. Just so many things that I was able to see. And that's a blank screen. No, why? Because as a kid, if you know Pokemon, I'm Gen 1. I'm a Kanto kid. That's where Ash Ketchum, the protagonist, started out his journey. And we got to catch them all. And for me, I want to see as much as I can. I want to, for the reptiles and amphibians, I want to catch as many as I can. You can't really catch birds unless you have like a net gun, but that's illegal, so you can't do that. But yeah, I want to see everything and as much as I possibly can to put into my my iNaturalist app, my Pokédex, if you will, of those observations. And now my little boy is into Pokemon, and so we kind of, it's real world. Like, hey, look, that caterpillar looks just like Caterpie, or like there's a Pidgey, it's like a pigeon type of thing, right? Come on. So what brings you here? Obviously, you're all naturalists. You're not just here for the birds, although that may be at top of your priority list. But collectively, you care about the outdoors. You care about your birds, so you care about everything that makes a bird tick, right? So that's native plants, the geology, things that birds eat, things that eat birds, right? With that, the healthier the ecosystem, the healthier, obviously, the birds are going to be and everything else. And so what brings me here is to talk to you about the snakes of South Texas. And it's not going to be anything crazy. It's going to be some of your more common things, starting with some of the venomous snakes, because that's what we really care about here. Not because they're any more special, but because they can potentially pose some sort of a medical threat to us if we're not careful. Now, these snakes, just like everything else, belong in the ecosystem. They are indicator species. If you have them around, everything is functioning the way it should. Unlike this clicker. There you go. So like I said earlier, biodiversity. Look at all these unique ecosystems within the state, these biomes, if you will. Something different lives in each one of those things. And we're right in the middle where some of these colors come together. So that leads to lots of biodiversity. So back to the phylogenetics of it all. These numbers change all the time depending on what kind of genetic information. There you go. Sorry. Should have like pushed me over and add some dramatic, yeah. There you go. So these are just some of the numbers that we have here in our area. It's not across the state. It's just in the area that we are currently in. Here we go. So we're gonna start with this guy. And to kids, I describe them as a candy cane, if you will. So in nature, bright colors usually mean stop, leave me alone. These guys want to be seen. Don't mess with me because something bad's going to happen. This is our coral snake, Mycurus tenor. It is our only representative in Texas of the elapid family. These guys, their relatives are those infamous, the cobras, the mambas, the kraits, those snakes that will really mess you up. And these guys can too, but they are really shy. They don't want to bite anything larger than a lizard. That's their main food source, are lizards and snakes. They eat cylindrical objects. So if you're not a lizard or a snake, you are safe from coral snakes. When encountered, they're really spazzy snakes. They'll just start scurrying around, and with that color combination, it almost makes the snake look wider and just really tough to pin down. And yeah, they want nothing to do with you. But with that you can't mistake it. There's no other snake in Bexar County that looks like that. I do have one of my snake friends here that looks kind of like that. But really anything that has that color combination, the reds, the yellows, you want to stay away. Now, there is a rhyme out there, the red and yellow touch kill a fellow or something like that. I don't really go by the rhyme, and I don't think I have the photo here, but a couple of years ago, we found a coral snake that was all black, melanistic, with just the first gold band around its neck. So we get a friend and I get a phone call, and they're telling my friend that, hey, I have a ringneck snake in a trash can, which we have ringneck snakes here, Didophis punctatus. They're a harmless species. And we're like, okay, cool. I've never seen a ringneck snake. So I was like, yeah, sure. I'll go, bring it over and photograph it. And so we kind of see it and like, yeah, that's not a ringneck snake. That's a coral snake. How did it get in the trash can? Well, I picked it up and put it in there. Okay. Yeah, go buy a lotto ticket. Very lucky. So there are many other ways to identify an animal other than its color, because nature doesn't follow a rule book. There's going to be variations in color, in size. This is a textbook example, but snakes don't read textbooks. They're going to do what they want to do. you know, genetically, there's a lot of variation. There's some really wacky colored ones out there. Instead of bands, there's some that have like a half moon red on their backsides. Nothing like that. So yeah, just with any animal, just leave it alone. Take a picture, put it on iNaturalist, and the algorithms or the experts will weigh in and tell you what it is. Neurotoxic venom. If it bites you, it messes with your central nervous system. Food items die because they can't breathe anymore. So it's one of the ways that this animal incapacitates its prey. Yeah, this is one of my favorite snakes here in the state. Our eastern black-tailed rattlesnake, Corylus ornatus. It used to be called the black-tailed rattlesnake, belonging to Corylus molossus, but with genetics, it kind of moved over. It is now Corylus ornatus. A very beautiful animal. This is from the Davis Mountains. If you recognize the pink rock back there, that's the geology out there. It's a pink rock. Beautiful animal. I have a YouTube video there, but I'm not going to play it because there's some questionable language in that video from my excitement. So we won't do that. But a very wonderful species, one of the pit vipers, hemotoxic venom, and anecdotally, it's one of the more calm rattlesnake species. They have a very calm disposition. They just sit there, which is how I got some of these photos. These are found in San Antonio, in northern Bexar County, and out west. So if you're in Government Canyon, has them out there. Yes, western diamondback rattlesnake. These guys are everywhere on the western part of the state. If you draw a line from the Panhandle down to the valley and go west, that's pretty much their range. I had one in my front yard a few days ago that I relocated. These are the ones that you're probably going to encounter more often than not. They have a very healthy population, even around populated areas. But like I said, they serve a purpose. And some of that is eating rodents that can bring in fleas and other parasites that can infect your pets if they're out there. And it's a whole thing with disease control that these guys do. For plant people, really all these snakes, they actually act as a secondary seed dispersal agent. Because when a mouse or a bird eat a seed, especially if they eat it whole, that seed is going through one digestive system, and then it goes through the snake's digestive system, breaking up that seed coat. So germination success goes up when they go through a snake. And of course, they're gonna, because of their metabolic rate, when they move around, a bird's gonna poop it out in a couple of hours to a day, but these guys may not poop for a week or two. So in that time, they're traveling a further distance than the bird itself, dispersing plants further and further away. Yeah. Hemotoxic venom on these guys and all our pit vipers, they will mess with your blood and tissue. Not a good way to spend a weekend if you get bit in the hospital. Western cottonmouth, this guy came from Mitchell Lake, and it's the only one from Mitchell Lake that's on iNaturalist. For whatever reason, they're not very common. They're everywhere along the Medina, but there's only been one recorded at Mitchell Lake, and that's the one I found at one of the polders out there. These guys they're just a hefty snake. So we have other water snake species. We have two here in the area, the diamondbacked water snake, Nerodia rhombifer, and the yellow-bellied water snake, Nerodia erythrogaster. And all these snakes, even large females, are not as robust as this guy. They are a very proud snake. So one way to identify them, especially in the water, is water snakes are dirty, disgusting creatures. And they don't, yeah, put me on record on that. I have some friends that love water snakes, but they're gross. And to that point, they'll swim with almost their whole body submerged. Maybe their eyes are poking out to see their surroundings, but cottonmouth are a very proud snake. When you see them swimming around in their waterways, they're going to have their heads up, proud. And so that's one behavior that can tell them apart from other water snakes. Not to say that they won't put their heads underneath, but for the most part, behaviorally, their heads are going to be up above water when they're swimming leisurely in their habitat. And of course, you're going to have that white underside and that just like a pit viper. This one has a, here it is. With pit vipers, they're going to have a dark mask coming down the side of their face. Our water snakes don't have that, but don't get close enough to see the markings on their face. All right, yeah. Achistrodon, our copperhead. This one was found a mile south of Mitchell Lake. And so these guys are highly, they're tied to habitat preference. They're going to be found either along canyons, oak-covered canyons, or sandy oak-associated habitats. Why is that? Why do you think they're strongly associated with oaks? Yeah, the leaf litter. Put that guy in a mott of oak leaves, it's gone. The camouflage is impressive. And so there is how habitat is selecting for what organisms live where, right? So if this guy's out in just a regular a shortgrass prairie, that camouflage isn't going to really do much, but put him in an oak forest, and this guy's a ghost. Again, part of the pit viper family, hemotoxic venom. They enjoy cicadas. So whenever we have those big cicada emergence, especially in the sandy areas southwest of the county, in Wilson County, they'll be climbing up chain link fences, you know, grabbing the cicadas as they're molting. Yeah, super cool. Their venom is currently being studied for a lot of cancers as well. So a lot of people, I hate the saying, some people always say the only good snake is a dead snake. So this guy's helping us live a longer, better life. Its toxin has keys to our well-being, to fight something as horrible as cancer. So if we obliterate the species, we essentially, we give up the medicinal advantages that we have with species like this. So we have many other snake species in Texas. I only covered the ones that are found in our general area. So we have prairie rattlesnakes, Mojaves, mottled rocks, Massasaugas, and pygmies. You can do a Google search or go on iNaturalist and you know what, go on iNaturalist, because if you Google search like prairie rattlesnake, you're going to get a random rat snake. And that's how misinformation and misidentifications happen. Go to iNat, type that in, and you're going to get quality photos and kind of get your identification skills sharpened up a little bit. So here we go with the common non-venomous snakes. These are the ones we're going to encounter in our backyards, along the waterways. This one, the diamondback water snake, which is commonly mistaken for a cottonmouth. And so this is the only water snake, the only snake species in our area that's going to have an orange eye. If you really look at a snake basking and it has an orange eye, that's your Nerodia rhombifer. You have these labial bars. Our cottonmouth do not have that. They have the mask running from underneath the eye across the face. These guys have vertical labial bars. And they will gather in mass in their favorite basking spots. You'll see them a lot along the San Antonio River, at Mitchell Lake, in a random ditch or canal in the city. They will be there because they're disgusting. They like to be, just like with any animal, they like to be left alone. But if you're like me and want to like go poke the snake, they do bite hard. But worse than that is their musk. So as a defensive strategy, a lot of these snakes, especially water snakes, because they eat fish and frogs and other smelly things, when they poo and spread their musk, they'll like rub it into your skin, like they'll wrap their tail around poo and then smear it on you. And it's an oil. So our skins are really good at absorbing that oil and grossness. So I kid you not, my wife knew whenever I was messing with water snakes, because she's like, go. Like just go shower for days and then come back later. I'd be like bloody and smelly, and yeah, they're fun. Here's our other water snake species, Nerodia erythrogaster. See the eye, it's not orange. Again, the vertical labial bars, blotches along the back. So cottonmouths have bands. These guys have blotches. And again, even as a juvenile that this snake is, it's not very heavily bodied. Whereas the cottonmouth was just, even as juveniles, they're going to be just chubby snakes. And same thing, like they're also mean. As when they get older, they'll bite and poo and all that good stuff. As an undergraduate student, I had to clean 20 tanks of water snake. I am very intimately, my knowledge of them is very intimate. Yeah. Here's a good one: our Great Plains rat snake, Pantherophis emeri. If you see a snake in a tree, if you see a snake climbing a wall and wonder how the heck did it get up there, it's a rat snake, no doubt about it. So this is our Great Plains rat snakes. We have 2 rat snake species here. This one is going to have these blotches on it throughout its entire life. Our Texas rat snake starts off like this, but as it gets older, it gets darker. And I have a photo of one here to show you. It's going to have an arrowhead shape on top of its head. And these guys are often mistaken for rattlesnakes because whenever they get threatened, and this is true across a lot of snake species, they will flatten out their heads. So instead of having this round snout, it will appear triangular, which is why you don't really want to identify a snake based off of its head shape, because this is a non-venomous snake. And when it gets angry, it will flatten out. It'll have a triangular head and it'll hiss and it'll rattle its tail. And when it does that, especially around leaf litter, it'll sound like a rattle. And people end up killing it, a very beneficial animal. So just learn to recognize it. Large eyes, arrowhead marking on top of its head. And yeah, that's our rats. They get pretty large too. They get 4 or 5 feet long. Here's our Texas rat snake, Pantherophis obsoletus. So as young, they look just like the Great Plains rat snake, except instead of the arrowhead marking, it looks like they have a little ghost image on top of their head. If you look at a young one, it'll have this, ghost figure with eye spots and a mouth. Yeah. And that's just a giveaway that it's a Texas rat snake. As it gets older, it'll darken up and become really, really grumpy. So these are very grumpy. Great Plains rat snakes, not very grumpy. This one I got, it was crossing the park road at Government Canyon, and I got off to help it off the road, and it tried to eat me. I'm like, I'm just trying to do something good for you and help you off the road because there's like traffic coming behind me. These are everywhere along green belts, in open spaces. I've seen Texas rat snakes, even around the Alamo area downtown. Don't know how I got there, but it was there. Decay's brown snake. If you love to garden, this is one that you want to have in your garden because they are slug eaters. They're pest eaters. This one is also, I always get pictures sent to me like, I found a baby copperhead. Like, no, that's a full grown adult brown snake. So they don't get very big. They get about 8-9 inches long. The babies are super cute. They're super tiny and they have a little white crown, white collar around their neck. They eat slugs, worms. These are part of the Naturcine family, so they are related to the water snakes and garters. Our eastern patch-nosed snake. A lot of people call these garden snakes. They're not garden snakes, nor garter snakes. They may live in your garden, but they're a totally different species. So here, I know the photo is a little dark, but these are little bulldozers. They will move the earth with that enlarged rostral scale, which is where the patch nose name comes along. And they will dig, dig, and dig. They love to eat lizards and lizard eggs. So during a migratory bird day at Mitchell Lake Audubon, this one, I have not written this note down. I want to submit a natural history note. There was a partnership happening between 2 patch nose snakes. They were digging up a nest of a spiny Texas spiny lizard. So one would dig, hit the dirt, coil around a clump of dirt and move it out. The other snake will come in, grab an egg, eat it, bust some more dirt, wrap around the dirt, pull the dirt out, and the other snake will come in, eat an egg, and do the same. They were taking turns raiding that nest, and they were very polite about it. I'll grab some dirt, take an egg, you take your shot next, and super cool. I have a video. It's about 7 minutes long. Haven't just had the time to just sit and write that note down, but just something interesting that we just need to document. So now we're getting into my neck of the woods. This is, besides the ornate rattlesnake, this is probably one of the most beautiful snakes, in my opinion, in the state. They only occur down in Cameron County at one of the Audubon properties, Sable Palm. I mean, just look at that coloration. Just a black scale with a turquoise, just little paint brush stroke of turquoise at the edge of that scale. And that's the one that bit me that one time, and they have anticoagulants in their saliva, so I bled for like 45 minutes nonstop. Habitat for birds, that place was put aside to protect bird species, also protected this guy. And that's the only place you could see this snake in the United States, is at Sable Palm Sanctuary. That 75-acre tract of land. They're fairly common in Mexico and in the tropics, but they're really pretty. You don't get this color anywhere else. They're kind of ugly down in the tropics. And everybody in this room should know what this is. This is our Texas indigo snake, one of the largest snakes in the United States, the ruler of the thorn scrub. That's what Drymarchon means, ruler. They will eat, when they get that big, 8.5 feet long, they will eat whatever they want, whenever they want. You can go up to a large one and pick it up, and it doesn't care, because if it wanted to, it'll just bite you, and it'll hurt a lot, because these guys will crush rattlesnake skulls and take them down like spaghetti. Yeah. If you've ever seen, there's plenty of YouTube videos out there of indigos eating rattlesnake. Just look at one. Like that rattlesnake, as soon as it smells an indigo snake, it starts like, okay, I'm very nervous. It'll start rattling and start acting spazzy. And this guy'd be like, hey, look, dinner. Hit it in the head. It's gonna try to get it on the head and just crush it. If not, it'll get it mid-body. They do have some sort of resistance to the venom of the rattlesnake. And so I've seen some bite mid-body, and the rattlesnake's just like striking. Doesn't phase them. They'll work their jaws up to the head of the rattlesnake, crush it, and then eat it. Yeah, super cool. Yeah. Any questions?
The snakes that the one you talked about.
Had the question?
All right, there you go. The snake with the anticoagulant venom properties, do they just wait for their prey to kind of conk out, or what's with that kind of
They eat
venom?
frogs, and so with the anticoagulant, it just helps. It drops blood pressure is what it does. So it just helps the frog expire sooner. Yeah, they're primarily toad and frog eaters. Yeah, that's yeah, at least with that species we know of.
Didn't know I like snakes so much. The snake, the rattlesnake that crawled up the wall. You mentioned, what was that? The rat snake.
Rat snake.
Yeah.
Rat snake.
How in the heck does he crawl up a wall?
They're magicians. So there's different body plans for snakes. So you have a cylindrical snake, which is like your rattlesnake. Although they can climb, they don't do it very well. With a rat snake, they have something that we call a bread loaf shape. So if you look at a bread loaf up front, it'll be half a cylinder and then the flat side. And so what they do is they essentially, with their ribs, will grab on, and with their scales will grab on to any irregular surface, and that helps inch up objects. Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, a lot of the arboreal species of snakes that live up in trees, have that same body plan, where they're able to literally wrap around anything and crawl up.
They can go straight up a pine tree too.
Yeah, and quick.
Is there another question? Just a second. Last minute.
They're pink, yeah. No, they're all Western rat snake. Oh, Western coach whip. It's just again the geology out there. So you get a lot of volcanic rock that's pink, and that's just yeah the environmental pressure selected for that color, and yeah they're really pretty out there. Yes. Yeah, that's called periscoping, and so if you go birding. If you go birding at the South Padre Island Convention Center during a fallout that's in that tall grass by the boardwalks, you'll see dozens, if not 30, 40, 50 coach whip kind of doing that, looking for birds. Yeah, and they'll run after if they see a bird. You'll see 5, 6, 7 snakes run after a bird. I know it's a birding group, but it's a good the experience is exhilarating. Yeah. You're like, come on, indigo bunting, get up, get up, get up. At bracket, yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, that's a really good question. Yeah, so the question was, if you see a snake or really any animal, should you want to obscure location? Personally, and acting as a representative of an agency that protects species, yeah, I would, especially if you're on a state park property, and that's going to be one of our rules if you do our City Nature Challenge at Honey Creek Ranch, is that we obscure observations. Unfortunately, people use some of these tools that are great for our community for purposes that aren't conducive to our conservation need. Some people, they want to collect animals to sell, and so in some of these places we have species of greater conservation need in state listed threatened species, endangered species, federally listed endangered species that we want to protect. So yes, we need that data, but there's tools to help obscure and keep that data with people that will use it for good, if you will. Particular snake around here, probably out east, you get the timber rattlesnakes, which is it's a snake that, because of persecution and just people encroaching in their habitat, we're losing a lot. And so timbers are actually really popular in the pet trade, and obviously people want to kill some of these snakes. So that's probably one species that I would obscure. Yeah, and definitely that speckled racer, because that's a pretty animal. People want it as a pet. Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to affect prey availability. So you will see some ebbs and flows of population decline. I don't want to say, well, maybe not population decline, but just activity. So snakes are special in the way that they can go a very long time without eating or drinking something. So with this drought, we may not be seeing a lot of these species that would be out now in our. I mean, we're still technically, I guess, in winter. But yeah, with the extended drought, maybe some of the more water-dependent species like your garter snakes, your water snakes, as our standing water starts to evaporate, you get less food items in there, and so the snakes will go into a den, into a hole, and just wait it out. So short term, no. Long term, we could have a population, weeding out, if you will, if we don't get water. Yeah. No, well, no, yeah, there's yeah, no, that's a fair question. Yeah, we have boy snakes and girl snakes, and when a boy snake likes a girl snake, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so how can you tell? Is it very It's a very no. So yeah, no. So some species are sexually dimorphic, meaning there's going to be a difference between the male and the female. So in water snakes, you have size sexual dimorphism, where the female will be bigger than the male. So that picture of the water snake, that was a 4.5 foot long female. Males are going to be tiny little weeny things about that big. Yeah, and so I was I was in Dallas at the Audubon, Trinity River Audubon. We were over a boardwalk, and I had a group of kids with me. And I'm like, oh, look at the birds, look at the snapping turtle. And over on the edge of the boardwalk, we had a snag, and there was a large female with a bunch of males on her. And so the kids are like, look, it's the mommy snake with the baby snakes. I'm like, yeah, that's not what's happening, but we'll let your parents tell you. So with that species, you can tell. And so what was happening is like she was receptive, and like literally 30 males were trying to reproduce with her. Yeah, and so yeah, if you see water snakes, yeah, females will be huge, and that's because the bigger you are as a female, either the more offspring you have to ensure survivability, or the bigger the offspring will be to ensure survivability. We see the reverse happen in pit vipers. So pit vipers are uh, ovoviviparous, which means they lay internal eggs within their body cavity, and the eggs hatch within, and then the mother gives birth, if you will. So in rattlesnake species, you have the opposite, where the males are bigger, because the males will fight over the female. So the bigger you are, the stronger you are, the more females you have access to at that end. And really, uh, the female, because the babies are within you, the female protects the babies. And in that case, numbers don't really matter, because you're getting an advantage because you're getting protection from your mom. Yeah, yeah. Oh, the Texas rat snake. Yeah, Anthrophis obsoletus. I'm not familiar with the etymology of that species. Not sure why it's obsolete, or the root word obsolete, which may be negative. Not sure where that came from. That's a very good question. But like, for example, with the timber rattlesnake, Crotalus, the genus name referring to like the rattle, horrendous rattle would it be what it is. With the speckled racer, Drymobius margaritiferus. Drymobius means of the forest. Margaritiferus means pearl carrier, referring to the jewel type marking on its scales. Yeah. So I'm sure, yeah, obsoletus means something. I just don't know. Yeah. So like Decay's brown snake, Decay refers to the naturalist, Decay. Yeah, stuff like that. Unfortunately, I forget that I am wearing a patch. Is anybody on the Skype thing? I'm sorry if I made a face. Sorry, I'm wearing a patch. I was gonna answer as if I wasn't wearing the patch. There is data that that we have that suggests that these types of programs are detrimental to not only the populations, but the wildlife community itself, because you're removing a species that is a predator and prey. When you remove that cog from the machine, you will disrupt the natural function of the ecosystem in which that animal is. So yes, there's data that suggests that what is happening with these roundups is affecting negatively the ecology of wherever they're removing these animals. Yes, but there are it is tied to the community, and we have to work with the community to hopefully one day relay how important these animals are, and that the benefits far outweigh the low statistical numbers of any bites that may happen to people, pets, and livestock. One day, we hope that they realize that, because we have examples from Georgia and from other southeastern states that had rattlesnake roundups where they turned it into environmental education festivals, and the amount of money that they receive, the amount of support they receive, and just the amount of knowledge that comes out of that far outweighs what is happening in some of these fairs that conduct these the negative side of those, like the killings, if you will. And so we're hoping that with that, we can turn what the behavior of the people that conduct the roundups.
Okay. Something hasn't been asked, and I think is okay. Find a snake in your yard that you don't want it. Either it's venomous or it's eating the birds. Eating the birds in the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, bird boxes. Don't put a pressure guard on. You're fighting the rat. So don't put up a bird box if you're not going to put a pressure guard on.
Yeah.
Rat snakes climb out of a hole.
Oh yeah, they don't care.
You're a trained person. You know how to relocate it. I'm not a trained person. What should I do?
You want to make your yard as uninviting to the animal as possible is the first thing you should do. But a lot of you garden, a lot of you love your birds, so that may be a little hard because birds are food, and so try to make it as uninviting as possible. Clean up around your garden beds. Put barriers. Put spaces to where you can easily see something if it's in your yard. Don't let stuff be overgrown. You know, have a designated spot where you may have some shrubs or some forbs or whatever, but you know that you need to be careful when you enter that area of your yard. Plan it out. It's kind of hard. Just keep water sources off the ground or unavailable. Cover objects, lift them up, put stuff away. I see a lot of things like on Facebook and on Nextdoor where, unfortunately, I haven't run across something like this, but they'll see like a rat snake inside a kid's, little walking car. I don't know what the tyke cars, whatever. You know, they'll be in the wheel well or whatever. You know, don't leave your kids' toys out there, and don't let them. Be proactive. Go out there, check the toys, or pick them up at the end of the day. Little things like that to make the habitat or to make your home less appealing for a snake. Yeah.
Good advice. Prevention.
Prevention.
But,
yeah. There are a lot of resources out there. Usually there are people that will relocate the animal. You know, just post it on Facebook or Nextdoor. Be sure they're not going to kill it. Keep an eye on it. Fire department, police department, they're trained to do this as well. So give them a call and they'll dispatch animal control. Or some of the firefighters actually are herpers, and they will be like, yeah, dude, we're out there. Like they will gladly come out and help remove an animal from
a lot of the neighborhood blogs, residents.
Yeah.
Call me first. Don't call me after you pop it in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
A lot of people get bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can be proactive in that way too. Just say, hey, in the event of a snake being in my yard, who can I contact? And I will exclude anybody that says I'm going to kill the snake. You know.
We have two questions on the chat. One of them, what should I do if I get bit by a rattlesnake?
Grab your car keys and go. And go to the hospital. Call. Don't make an incision. Don't try to suck the venom out. You're just going to introduce. That doesn't work. An envenomation is just like you receiving a shot. You're not gonna, after you receive a flu shot, you're not gonna slice yourself open. It's not going to work. It's already in your body. I know that staying calm is probably the last thing you're going to do, but if you stay calm, that reduces the amount of venom circulating through your body because your heart's going to be pumping that blood faster and faster. Remain calm. If you have somebody in the house that can drive, give them the keys, call 911 and say, I need a police escort to Baptist, to whatever hospital you're near, and go. Envenomation is kind of like an allergic reaction. Different people will have different reactions to an envenomation, whether it's time. I could get bit and drop dead in 5 minutes because my body cannot handle that shock, while this Patsy may get bit and she'll be fine for a few hours. It just depends on the person. So don't take that risk. Grab your keys, go. Another thing, there are different antivenoms out there. There is one made out of horse serum that causes allergic reactions in a lot of patients. So hopefully none of you or people that you know are ever in this situation, but ask about what antivenom is available and say no to if it's the only one available, take it. But if you have the antivenom that is not derived from horse serum, that's the better option because you're less likely to react to that chemical.
Another one from the chat is a question: are there any legless lizards?
Yeah. So
what are they, and where would you find one?
You would find them in the sand sheets. So we have Ophisaurus attenuatus, which is the slender glass lizard, and they are found in South Texas along the sand sheet. So if you look at Google Maps and locate Port Mansfield and zoom out, you're going to see a huge sand sheet that is around those counties: Northern, Star, Hidalgo, Willacy, Brooks, all that. That is where you find them. You find them along the coast, along Padre Island National Seashore. If you go after a rain and drive up the road, you're going to see tons of them. Yeah, we have them around, and that's probably their strongest areas where they're found. We don't have any here specifically in the county. No. It's not sandy enough. Probably get yourself a Yorkie or something, like a little rat terrier. No. Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah. No. Cats won't do anything. So I've had people ask me that question, and I mean, a snake's gonna do what snake's gonna do, and it may not, for whatever reason, want to stick around in the garage, and it can just maybe eat a mouse or two and then move on. Uh, yeah, if I could like telepathically like stay and eat the mice and do your job, that'd be great. But yeah, it doesn't always work because they're gonna be highly mobile. And yeah.
I know there's going to be a lot of questions, but I've got one more back there. But where would be a good place to go to learn more?
Ooh, that's a good question. Any state park. A lot of our naturalists are well educated in a lot of species. So just visit your local state park. Here in San Antonio, we have staff at Government Canyon that Ryan is a super knowledgeable fellow on all things reptiles and amphibians. Go talk to him. San Antonio Zoo have good people as well. Just a quick email. So if a member of the public reaches out to me and wants to learn more, that's going to take priority because we're here to serve the public. And if you all really see me as a subject matter expert, I will do my best to answer each and every one of your questions to the best of my ability. And that's our sentiment across the board. So just reach out. Professors, universities, UTSA has a few, Purpers, yeah, a lot of institutions. So just reach out. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And yeah. Yeah, no, and that's